Greetings all and welcome back to Vulpecular Media. I have had a request following on from my Old Man Geralt build advice video to do a Young Man Geralt build advice video. So I did a little pondering and this is what I came up with. So we're going to have a full Grandmaster Wolven set if you're at that point in the game. If you're not, you're not. That is what it is. And I will talk a little bit in a minute about sort of scaling it back for people. But going off the idea that, you know, we're 5 years down the line, you've got all the DLCs, etc, etc. So what we've gone for is the full Grandmaster Wolven set. It's not the best bonuses, but it's a leather jacket, which is the only detail we have from the books that he wears. And I want to get like a fresh out of school feel for Geralt at the moment. So bombs wise, we are using Superior Northern Wind and Grape Shot like I do in everything, just because they fit the general advice given by Vesemir in the books, which is that you don't fight with directly with fire and you don't fight directly with light because it can bounce back on you, whereas Grape Shot is like a little bit of fire, but it's mostly just shrapnel. And Northern Wind is hella useful. So for enchantments, we've got Levity, just to keep that stamina use low. And Severance on both the swords to increase Whirl and Rend effectiveness. Let's have a glimpse at these base stats. So I'm at level 53 on this build. Base stats are here. Nothing to write home about really, but we'll get into the actual character side. So I'm using the Bloodbath mutation, just because I feel that it gives you that young, resentful sort of I've just come out of a school for monster assassins vibe, I guess. And you can obviously get huge escalations on attack power. There's no signs or sign enhancements in the build, because Geralt, whilst supposedly being fairly gifted, is not all that gifted compared to people like Eskel, and has a general distaste for using it. He tends to only use signs in a tricky spot. In fairness, he uses Alchemy a lot more, but still not a huge amount. Geralt's a very combat-focused kind of guy, so we've gone for kind of the opposite, I guess, of that slow Ursine build I did for Old Man Geralt, to go for a very quick, light, speedy, sort of doesn't really give a shit vibe for a Young Man Geralt. So we're repping the entirety of the fast attacks tree here, because that is his preferred modus for fighting. But we've added on Rend and Sunder Armor just because, you know, he's young, he's sprightly. If he needs to chop a head off, he can chop a head off. The full defensive slash sort of evasive tree here, just to represent how young, fresh in his mind, Kaer Morhen is. And Adrenaline, obviously, just again, playing in on that, like, fresh blood kind of feel, if that makes any sense. So the aim will mostly be just flowing through combat, especially good in groups rather than on single combat. Moving into the alchemy bit, I was in two minds about it, because I could do a slightly more advanced, if you've got the points to spare style build, which would reflect Geralt's natural gifts. It's said in the books that he took to the Trial of the Grasses surprisingly well, which is why I always feel like Synergy should really be like a canon Geralt ability, but it is what it is, and that's the difficulty I'm having with this build versus the Old Man Geralt. Old Man Geralt is pseudo hypothetical, whereas Young Man Geralt I kind of have to base off of what we know. So I've gone with just these top three here. The heightened tolerance, so, you know, he's fresh out the Trial of the Grasses and he's now got a fairly comprehensive knowledge of of what potions to use to get through fights. Poison blades and the steady aim. I think that even though those, bombs and oils aren't referenced directly in the books, other than, oiling your sword to keep it clean and sharp, I feel like translated into the games, that really kind of applies to the applied learning of being a Witcher, coming from a Witcher school, being taught how to handle certain monsters. I feel that's what the oils represent. Likewise with the bombs representing, how to handle certain groups. And it fits in with the bonuses given to us by the Wolf School armor, even though, the oils bonus is pretty useful. Having 3 oils can help reduce the amount of time you spend in the menu while you're on a quest, where you might have more than one type of enemy. But the bombs, throwing a bomb without a delay is not that huge. But hey ho. Next thing I was going to say is that we aren't using any range stuff. We aren't going to use that because it doesn't appear in the books. It wouldn't be something that he is taught. And the other thing I was in a couple of different minds about is what sort of suite of potions we would be running with. I think realistically, being young and sort of a little bit more willful, rather than swallow, which is slowly regenerative, I think that Geralt would probably be more likely to use a White Rafford just to, one hit, feel better kind of thing. Tawny Owl is a must for the build. Thunderbolt is one thing, but I'm also considering Petri's Filter. I think I lean towards Petri's Filter because we might need to use signs, and that will help boost those, whereas extra attack power is really nice, but we've got plenty of attack power in our arsenal relative to the build. And then for the last thing, I was actually thinking that it would be White Honey, erring on the side of caution, not wanting, especially because we don't have like acquired tolerance and things like that in that build. It might be smart to have a get out of jail free card in White Honey there. Now, going back to this side of things, this is obviously fully mapped out. If we were doing this without the DLC, so if we were coming out of that and just going with our 12 slots, I feel like the way that I would map it for a young Geralt would still be very similar up to here. I would go for probably ducking out Rend. Where is it? Rend. And putting in Flood of Anger just to reflect that. That's just a lore thing, not really a playstyle thing. But that would just reflect that Geralt is very reluctant to use his magic, to use his signs, but he does use them normally to maximum effect. And that can also be really fun in-game as a playstyle, just, fully unlocking, because you rack up adrenaline points with this build very quickly, and you hang on to them as well, because we've maxed out Resolve. So having that one-shot, like, massive Igni or a massive Ard can be really, really fun, and make all the difference. So, there's not really much more to say about it. That's just the outline for it. It's more of a lore game build, more of a lore-based build than the Old Man Geralt, which a lot of people play a very similar build to anyway. But it was by request, so there it is. There it is for you. I can't remember who requested it now, I feel awful, but I'm sure if you're watching, you'll know who you are. that's it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.